Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. Today is day number 5 in the meditations, and I've decided that I'm going to each do it every other day, the meditations, because they take so long to do. It takes really half of a morning to write everything out that I want to say or that I want to put into it. So I thought maybe I could do this, that I could make it a little bit easier on myself and do the meditations every other day. And then just do the cards or do dowsing rods or pendulums or whatever. Just get some practice talking to my guides and, getting the lowdown from them on everything. Um, so I'm going to start today by pulling a card, and then I will do the meditation, and then I'll finish out the reading with the cards. And because this meditation uses a card from another deck, I will be pulling that card up during the meditation so that you can take a look at it when I get to the point of describing it. So that is how we're going to do this today. And today it's called Bountiful Blessings or Bountiful Harvest. Bountiful Harvest was the initial name of the other meditation. I put Bountiful Blessings, but I think they can be interchanged because I think that they're both kind of the same concept, same ideas enmeshed in there. So I'm going to go ahead and do the card here. So today's. And the card that I get is the world. The world is beginnings, endings and beginnings, starting something new or closing out something old. But it is an important card. It's Major Arcana, and it's the last Major Arcana in the Tarot deck. Just a really significant card. I think it's a beautiful card. Kind of makes me think of a sporting event or so with the world behind her. And then she looks like she's, either going into like a sporting event or something. She looks like she's twirling batons or something to that effect. And she just looks very elegant, and she's in front of these side things that look like they would be for sports or something. But that's the card for today. I'm going to put that to the one side, and then I'm going to start the meditation. And I wrote day 5. It's June 10th, 2025, and I called it Bountiful Blessings or Bountiful Harvest. I said, sorry I couldn't write yesterday. I think the last meditation made my hand hurt. Everything went so fast. Sunshine says, I will try not to talk too fast. Those boys have the gift of the gab. So glad you're doing better. I said, I do have a bone to pick with you. What was with those cockeyed messages with the rods the other day? Sunshine said, hey, that's not my fault. You slogged off and haven't been practicing. If you would put more effort into it, then maybe things wouldn't go sideways. I said, okay, so how often should I practice? And she said, when the spirit moves you, you will feel it. It will get better in time. Just look at how well you are doing with these cards. You really have improved since you've focused your attention on them. I said, thanks. I still feel like I have ways to go. She said, it's called learning. You have other things going on as well. I said, yes, that's true. And she said, so let's get this done. I said, okay, here goes. I said, it's not always about the things you want. Often it's about the things you have, the blessings and gifts that you have received. Never forget that all of the bountiful things that you have are as great a blessing as you can imagine. I sometimes forget that. I mean, not always, but I do know that. I take things for granted. I'm very lucky. Sunshine says, indeed, but you shouldn't be so hard on yourself about these things. You are grateful for what you have. It's like that song. You know that saying a song is really special. Singing a song is really special, and you now understand that to be grateful for this opportunity is a sign of growth. It is not a sign of lack. You should never berate yourself for the things that you did before, for mistakes of the past. That is over and done, and you've learned from it. The thing about human life, it is an endless journey of lessons, of experiences, and of understanding that in mistakes are the tools of learning. As you go through life, you are gaining greater understanding that the acquisition of things is just that. It's the acquisition of things. You are not at fault unless you refuse to accept the lesson with a whole heart. The thing about you is how often the mistakes that you've made in the past always seem to come back and have their way with you. Let them go. We are all Let all of that nonsense go. If other people decide to use those things against you and try to give you some sort of guilt trip about your past mistakes, then by all means, let them go too. Why subject yourself to the judgments and critiques of people whose only intentions are to bring you down? That is why narcissists have no real friends. In order for them to feel good about themselves, they have to make others around them feel awful. That is no way to live. I said, yes, good point. Shall I continue? And she said, shoot. I said, I recall as a child sitting and writing my Christmas and birthday list. What did I wish for? A doll, a teddy bear, or a puzzle that I could hold in my hand? Strange how all of the things I wished for were small things. Those were the things that held value to me. They were not large things that had cost a great deal of money. My joy always seemed to come from sharing what little I had, drawing a picture or writing a poem. Such simple gifts were the things that I remember. And Sunshine says, you were thinking about the stereo. I said, yes, I remember that so well. My older sister and I shared a room, and we would basically half the room. I was not allowed to go on her side, and she claimed not to go on mine. But then again, the things with her was that she had no interest in going on my side anyway. So soon after my parents divorced, my mother begins dating around. I thought nothing about it, but rumors would fly about and here and there. For a 7 or 8-year-old kid, I didn't much care. It was like her life. She could do with it as she pleased. Anyway, one of the men that she dated came from a pretty wealthy background, and he asked us what we wanted for Christmas that year. Our mother told us that we should write out a list. I wrote that I wanted a pyraminx, a sort of triangular puzzle game, and a bathrobe. My sister wanted a stereo. Of course, the man bought us what we wished for, and I got a red strawberry shortcake robe. I love that thing. He also got me the pyraminx, which I played with until the thing fell apart. Come to think of it, I would probably still have it today if I had not played with it until it fell apart. Sunshine said, and your sister got the stereo? I said, yes. I remember how she told me that I couldn't touch the stereo, not even to turn the blasted thing off because she left it running during the night, and it ran all night. After she got it, the only memory I have about her stereo is that night when I couldn't sleep because she left it running. When I had my next birthday, I asked for a radio, not a tape or a record player stereo, but a simple radio so that I could listen to music. My sister later came to me and chastised me for not asking for good gifts like she did. To this day, I remember that, and I ask myself, what is a good gift? I always thought of gifts that come from the heart are good gifts. And Sunshine says, you make me proud. I said, why is that? And she said, because you understand the meaning behind the gifts you receive. I said, why are the things that come to mean so much to us not necessarily things, but rather memories? And Sunshine says, memories cannot be bought. They are not transferable. You cannot take someone else's memory for your own. What you can do is accept that you are given the gift of a positive memory. It also explains why certain objects mean so much to you. You have a jacket that you love, not because it keeps you dry when it rains, but rather because the people that gave it to you. You are recalling those times in your life when you hold tightly to letters and recollections. There are more value in objects that you bought or a stereo that your sister had. I said, true. I said, so the card that I hold today is Bountiful Harvest. It shows a woman cradling Mother Earth with a dove flying overhead. Such a beautiful and simple message about the wonders of simple things. Sunshine says, simple gifts are a song. Sometimes the people do not forget the gifts they receive are not always going to be extravagant, but rather laced in simplicity. I said, as I get older, the one thing I'm reminded of is the idea that I don't need material things to be happy. And Sunshine says, no, you don't. Some of the most fulfilled people have very little material things. I said, you read my Yes, Yes, I need my loved ones, my health, and the internal knowing that the key to my happiness lies in the simple things. Is it not possible that all of the things that I do are encased more in my actions than in material gifts? And Sunshine says, you can speak kindly to others and discover that that is more of a gift than material things. You do not have to hoard things to feel fulfilled. That is a mistake that many people make. The internal belief that an object will always make people happy. But does it? Look at the man who is rich but despised. Ebenezer Scrooge has more redeeming qualities than the richest man in the world. I said, yes, but Scrooge changed. He became a better man through his experiences. The sad thing is, no ghosts are haunting that guy. And Sunshine says, don't be so sure. And I said, okay, I won't go there. But the question is, as I continue, when is more and more going to be enough? When will people discover that having more and more does not make them spiritually fulfilled? Do these men who are rich know anything about joy? Or do they only see happiness as through the acquisition of material things? Sunshine says, they have yet to realize that one day when they transition, that they cannot take their belongings with them. This is the basis on all things people need to understand. Material things, whether acquired legally or inherited, will not pay their way through a life review. They will have one just as every soul will have one, and how one addresses their life review will determine where one goes and what one does. You have an opportunity to explore your own through your chats with us. Isn't that not nice to know that when you come to the next plane of existence, that you will be greeted by friends and not by strangers? I said, yes. And I said, since prosperity is important, we must have food and drink in order to survive. Yet is there more joy in sharing a meal with friends and loved ones than sitting alone in one's chambers eating gruel and counting pennies like Ebenezer Scrooge? And Sunshine says, you referenced him again. His character seems apt for this moment. I said, I guess it does. I know Christmas is behind us, or in this time a long ways off. But is there any joy in watching a lonely, miserable old man who finds their sole intention spreading misery and sadness wherever he goes? Sunshine says, you have just shown through a story that such misery exists in your world. There are indeed those who feel they can only be lifted up by bringing other people down. It is why people do celebrate the downfall of such people. I said, is it not right to do so? I mean, to celebrate or express joy and happiness in watching them decay? Sunshine says, perhaps it is not the intention spiritually for people to express glee at this, but you are not saying that you hope for the transition of one such person. I said, I must confess, deep down inside I do, but I don't express it verbally. I know that it is not the nicest thing to do, but I really can't help but think that for those they hurt, it is desired. Sunshine says, I won't hold that against you. I think instead you are awaiting karma to do its thing. Once people do see the evil for what it is, then karma will do its thing. I said, perhaps we light workers are more prosperous and richer than those professed rich people. Perhaps prosperity lies not in the acquisition, but rather in love, charity, kindness, and simple humility. The lesson is not just in looking in the mirror and beholding our reflection, but perhaps it lies in embracing our true value and worth, our love and compassion for others, the kindness bestowed on a stranger at a bus stop, or simply a smile to our neighbor and a door held open for a person carrying a large parcel. Sunshine says, kindness is its own reward. That is the main point to all of this. You are able to see it in your daily interactions. I said, good deeds are the true reward. Helping someone up when they have fallen, or giving a hand instead of turning the other cheek. And Sunshine says, bring it home. And then I continued, sharing is caring. The light we share can spread out and touch the world. It matters not if someone cannot see it. Those who understand will. So on this day, I recognize the bounty that I have, and although it may not be considered to be a lot, it is enough. Thank you, my angels and guides, for this important lesson. And Sunshine says, and so it is. So here's the card again. This is the Bountiful Harvest card. This is the card that I pulled when I did that meditation back in January, and it's one I'm sharing with you now. Again, beautiful card with a beautiful message. Okay, and so now we're back to the tarot, and we've got the World card. And I keep having that song going through my mind. I got the world on a string, ding-a-ling-a-ling. And so that's what comes to mind. It's like a joy-filled beginning, a new start in the world. The next card I pulled, interesting, the Tower. And this goes back to when I said, do you find glee in the demise of someone? Isn't it interesting that I pulled the World card, and then right after I pull the World card, I pull the Tower card? This is the collapse of something evil. This is the end of the situation that we are in. I think the world is seeing this play out right now. And it's very interesting that given the discussion that Sunshine and I had about the feeling of glee at the demise of someone evil, and then seeing this card show up, it kind of reaffirms that whole notion that the end of something, the end of a cycle, the end of a tyranny, while at the juncture of a crossroads. We are here at this point. We are in this place where we are at a juncture where we don't fully know where we're going to go. We don't know what's going to happen. Some of us are blindfolded. Some of us have no idea where we're going. But yet we're seeing this play out in real time. This is current events. This is what's happening in the world. The Four of Swords. We are waiting. We are waiting for our moment. We are waiting for this to happen. Once this happens, we stand at the ready. Sword is at a reachable location where we can reach out to it and we can get it and we can grab it and we can move forward. The final outcome, it's the High Priestess. As of 3 major arcana cards in one pull. This is pretty amazing. But the High Priestess is the final outcome. And she represents the rebirth of the world. The High Priestess is there to represent the rebirth of a new world. We have the Tower moment, but the final outcome is the High Priestess. We have the world, beginnings and endings. And we have waiting for what's coming next. And perhaps this ties in to all of this. What you reap is what you sow. What you put into the world is what you get out of the world. What you give to the universe pays you back. This is karma. This is what is happening right now. We are at a juncture right now of hope and reaping what we sow. What you bring about in this world will create whatever happens in the next days and weeks ahead. So, although I did not anticipate that this would turn into a current events reading, you've got to admit, with these cards, that's what's happening. So, I wish you a wonderful day. Take care. Enjoy the day. Get outside and enjoy some sunshine if you've got some sunshine there. I've got one on my shoulder right now, or actually standing behind me. So even if it's a cloudy day, I still got sunshine. So like the song, I've got sunshine on a cloudy day. And I wish you well in the world today. Take care, and as always, namaste.